What's going on there, YouTube? This is Mark with Waist Deep Wade Fishing, Southwest Florida. How's everyone doing out there? Hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing better myself and getting ready to get out there and do some more fishing. But today I wanted to put together a video that a lot of people have been asking me about because there's tons of them. There's so much variety. I figure I'd narrow it down to just a couple of the ones that I use on a regular basis that produce fish overall and that have the best performance. So today's big news and today's special: jigs and soft plastics. The what, the where, and of course, why. So before we do that, I want to thank everybody out there. I want to thank all of the sponsors that have helped me through this, all of the subscribers, all the people who have been liking and sharing and helping us getting this thing going. So again, let's begin. We're going to start off with jig heads. There's only two types of jig heads that I use: an 1/8 of an ounce and a 1/4 ounce. Now there's different colors, there's different varieties, different shapes. There's even some that make sounds. So we're gonna go through that. So let's start it up, make it simple. Got a couple of the ones that I use here, and I'm gonna show them one by one. So the first one that I use, which is a fantastic jig head, it's tried and true. It has some downfalls, but it has some high points. So this is the 1/4 ounce chartreuse with the red eyes DOA jig head. Number one, the hook. The hook on this jig head is fantastic. It's strong. It's a size 2.0. I've hooked many redfish, over 20 pounds, trout over 7 pounds, snook over 10 pounds using these jig heads, and they're fantastic. The only downside to them, there's only one thing: it doesn't make a rattle. It holds the lure on. The soft plastic does not slip. I can cast it a mile. It flows through the air. Excellent jig head. And I like to take this jig head and match it up with either the DOA Calishad in 3.5 inches, or the Saltwater Assassin in 4 inches. And I believe this one is called Mama's Chicken. Fantastic color. Just take a look at that. I mean, what fish would not eat that? So as far as the DOA jig head, I love the red eyes. It calls them in. Great jig head, phenomenal. You can swim it, you can jig it. It has that curved front nose, so if you do swim it, it's going to bump off the grass. It's going to go right through the grass. It's not going to get snagged up. It isn't weedless. And if you jig it, she's going to sink and pop and then fall and rest. So that's one of the jig heads that I use on a regular basis. It's in my box. Been using them for over 10 years. Phenomenal. The hook is a 2.0. Phenomenal. It has a nice little hook stop right here. Okay, a bait stop. So when you put your bait on, this little hook right here hooks into the bait, locks it on. But there's a downside to it. Once you hook that bait, or a fish, hooks that bait and pulls off that lure, stretches it out, this little hook stop right here is going to rip through the bait, and 9 times out of 10, the bait, it's pretty much ruined. So you could catch a couple of fish per bait, but if they pull that bait off, it's pretty much ruined. Now the other plus side to this is the hooks are great. The jig head is phenomenal. You can throw it through the air. Swimming it through the grass Not as good as the DOA because it has more of a blunt head, but this is more of a jig, pop, pop, jig, jig, and let it sink. Now this jig head will sink straight down on its head like this, and that lure will sit up in the grass floating. And the thing that makes this really, really good is it has a built-in rattle. I don't know if everyone can hear that, but it has a built-in rattle. And that rattle definitely gives you an advantage when throwing in potholes, grass, or near mangroves. It's going to call them in. It's going to sound like the fish is clicking, or if you put an artificial shrimp, a clicking shrimp. So with this bait, I like to use, again, DOAs. My favorite bait to match up is the infamous chicken on the chain. There it is by Saltwater Assassin. Most of the lures I use have a chartreuse tail. Phenomenal bait, excellent. Stays on the lure forever. As long as it doesn't get tugged off and ruined. Because once it gets tugged, that barb rips through the lure, and then that's it. And then another lure I like to match up with that is these mural lures. They're a little unique. They're not a paddle tail. They're more of a jig, jig, and let it sink. Those right there. I'll match this up with these. Phenomenal combination. Works great. Love it. Catches tons of fish. These are a little bit unique. As you can see, they're just like the other lure, but there's a couple of differences. They still have a blunt head. They still have the ruby red eyes. The hooks, phenomenal. I've been using them. But in this case, in these jig heads, if you listen, okay, it's got a lot louder of a rattle, which is a benefit. On top of that, this particular jig head does not have a bait saving hook. It has a proprietary piece of plastic right there, which will, when threading a bait and pushing the bait on, does not allow you to pull the bait off. So therefore, with this jig head, okay, I'll pretty much use everything in the box. I started using them with another buddy of mine. Actually, I should say not buddy, but sponsor of mine, Red Allure Lures. RedAllures.com. Check them out. You can get packs of baits on there fairly cheap. Everything is handmade, made in the United States. Fantastic gentlemen, fantastic lures. But what I started to do was take these Red Allure lures right here, okay, and that's in the black silver pepper flake, and they're all paddle tails. This does not have the chartreuse paddle tail, and I started using them with this jig head, and I found that these lures and this jig head matched together are a phenomenal combination. You can slip one of these on the jig head. I like to cut the top of the jig head off about, a 1/2 inch off the head of the bait. Snip that off, and then basically you're going to thread it on. Thread it over this plastic seal right here and this bead. Feed it right to the head of the bait, and once it's on, it's not coming off. And I've caught 5-10 fish on one bait without slippage. So again, there's a time and a place. So if you want to go ahead and pick up one of these Texas rattlers, here's the packaging. They come in fantastic, professional. Everything right on there on the screen that you can see. Or you could go to TexasRattler.com. Captain Rex is the man in charge. He's the man who invented the Texas Rattler. so you can give them a shout. Go online, get what you need, place your order. They're around $5.95 or $6 a piece. Pretty reasonable and worth every penny. I want to say, we could just give a little shout out to Captain Rex. Love your lures, they work phenomenal. So I wanted to make sure I put them in the video. Till then, talk to you guys later, and get out there and get yourself a fish. I'm going to end this video. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope you got some knowledge of the jig heads and some of the soft plastics that you can use with them. Hope it helps you out on the water. My name is Mark. This is Waist Deep Wade Fishing, Southwest Florida. I hope to see everybody out on the water. Please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share. If you have any ideas for me or anything that you'd like to see me do on my videos, please put it in the comments. Till then, get out there, get yourself a yellowmouth, a redfish, a line sider, or if you're lucky enough, you'll be able to bow to the king. Anyone that knows that fishing terminology knows exactly what I mean. I love you all. Take it easy to the next video. Waist Deep Wade Fishing, Southwest Florida.